Hi, and welcome back to Alex Talking. Today, me and sweet baby Peaches here are going to be talking about the new Brad Pitt, directed by Joseph Kosinski film, F1 the movie, which I got to see at the Big D Theater here in Savannah, Georgia last night, which is our equivalent of IMAX, other than going to the world's tallest IMAX in Pooler, Georgia. And I absolutely had a blast with this thing. Now, that's not to say that there aren't certain issues with it or it's not a perfect movie, but yeah, I'll cut to the chase right away and say that I had a really good time at the movies last night with this one. Brad Pitt is in full charisma movie star mode, and I have to say, the fact that Joseph Kosinski chose to follow up Maverick, well, he followed up Maverick with Spiderhead, but that he chose to follow up Maverick in cinemas with a real movie, with his first, like, real massive follow up, cashing in that Top Gun check with an original movie, using his powers for good. Now, obviously, this is a pre established brand, but it's hard to call it like an IP in the way that most movies call stuff IPs. As Formula One racing is a massive brand, but there is no movie. There is, certain racing movies, and we all like racing movies, Like, this did emulate a lot of the best racing movies. The one that it made me think most about was Ford v Ferrari, and that is, to me, probably the best racing movie, and still is. So, it's not bad to compare yourself to Ford v Ferrari. That's actually a positive. The overall movie is very much so structured like Top Gun Maverick, as I'm sure you've heard. It's about the old school guy coming back to show the young whippersnapper how to do it by, taking it back to the good old days rather than relying too much on technology. Like, bruv, get off your phone. And that is where this movie actually, I don't think, fails. I don't think the story is a big issue, as much as I've heard that be a complaint a lot in its formulaicness. I actually thought that this movie did something interesting where it did feel formulaic until it didn't. At every time where I thought this is going exactly where you expect it to, it would take a sharp turn and it would take you somewhere completely different, to the point that I actually was along for the ride in a really effective and enjoyable way, rather than just being bored and thinking that it was just another formulaic whatever movie. I actually thought the story worked by taking you into some new, interesting, different directions, and it challenged you of if you even liked the characters to a certain point. That would be my biggest complaint with this movie. I thought most of the characters were aggressively unlikable, which is strange to say for a movie like this. I don't know if that's because too many of them were British. I don't know what, but this movie had a real big issue with me only due to the characters, the way they talk, the things they do. Um, it was very much so a movie in that sense. Me and my fiance talked about this afterwards. Is it like a Jeans movie, what we like to say, where you can feel the naturalism to it? It feels like real people. Is it a movie? It doesn't feel like a Jeans movie. It does not ever feel like a real movie to me. But she said that the beginning with Brad Pitt and stuff did make her feel that way. And I was like, you know what? That's actually fair to a certain extent. The opening with Brad Pitt did, but not really, not even to me, like, because he still just, like, left. And it established his character as a, vagabond driver who has one purpose in life. And it's not about the money. What is it about? That's his journey in this movie. That is what this movie is about. That's what the story is about. And that really worked for me. Unfortunately, once you get him in this situation, you have him, who's a cool character. You have Javier Bardem, who is the only one who's consistently likable throughout. He's consistently looking out for the good of Sonny, which is Brad Pitt's character, and trying his best to make this work. Ruben is his name. I thought Bardem was fantastic. That's like saying I thought that the water was wet today. Javier Bardem is one of our greatest working actors, but to actually put him alongside Brad Pitt in a role that isn't the movie The Counselor, I thought was great. And he is so fun in this. He's really magnetic. Anytime Bardem was on screen, I was overjoyed. And I think that was also because I didn't get as annoyed with his character. Carrie Condon is also very likable, if a little underwritten. She's very likable because she is Carrie Condon, and she does have some really cool elements to her. Her backstory, the way it's unfolded and fleshed out, is cool. This and her job as well. Her function is cool. My only issue with her is that the actual like result of hey Peaches, aren't you pretty? The actual result of um, the angle they take their relationship, it felt once again very movieified. It never would have actually felt natural in any movie if that was the way the decisions played out and like the story ended. Maybe it went on a little scene or two too long. Everyone, at the end, I would have maybe even cut the end off by 10 minutes or 15 minutes because I thought, where are they going with this? Until the very final scene, in which I was like, oh, that tied it all together. That made it make sense. That's a great ending. The final scene. But the final like 10 to 15 minutes after the big climax kind of felt like, where are they going with this? And her character was part of that, in which I didn't feel like she got that much of a satisfying conclusion. But, maybe we'll see her down the road. And overall, yeah, the Britishness of it was a little weird. It was aggressively British. I thought the kid was so unlikable for the most part until I did enjoy his character at the end. Damson Idris he gave a great performance. It's just the writing. Like he was very much so a kid. And that's a little weird to say, but it's like he behaved like a 15-year-old for the most part. Even like dude literally has his mommy doing shit for him. The mom, oh, God bless her. She ruined every scene she was in after the first one. I thought, hey, it's the therapist from Ted Lasso, even though I don't like her in the series Ted Lasso or where that went. I was like, hey, I know who that is. And she had a funny scene when she like first saw Brad Pitt on the poster. That was a fun scene. Every scene after, I was like, wait a minute, who wrote this? Who greenlit the idea that we're gonna have this scene where she like literally chews out Brad Pitt for her son's mistake? As a viewer, as a 21-year-old adult watching that, I was like too annoyed to even be invested in it for a second as any sort of reality. It's like, excuse me, shut the fuck up. Your son is a race car driver. He chose to do this. You chose to let him do this. You do not get to call out a 40-some-year-old guy and tell him it's your fault that my son is in this situation. Because one, it's not. You don't know all the story. Two, show some decorum. Take some responsibility for your place in the situation. And if anything, don't just push Javier Bardem aside, who is the person funding your son and putting him in that car. But instead attacking Brad Pitt because he actually tried to get your son to win a race, I understand as a viewer, you're supposed to be like, but Sonny really wasn't wanting him to do. But still, like as someone with logic receptors and like a capacity for how humans should function in my brain, I was just annoyed, like to no end by that scene. And then anytime she was on screen afterwards, like the overacting faces she were making, like, like towards Brad Pitt, towards her son, I was like, wow, this element of the movie is so minuscule, but it's really dampening my enjoyment of it just because it's so undercooked, so half-baked, and so pointless, but they still threw it in just to leave a really bad taste in my mouth. But other than that, other than how unlikable so many of the characters were, and purely, once again, it's just the things they say, the stuff they do, I don't have many complaints about this movie. It's actually riveting. It is. There goes Peaches. Now I bring this up here so I can look directly at y'all, directly into the barrel of the camera. It's the best race car action ever filmed. It is the best race car action that maybe ever will be filmed. The fact that they shot this with real F1 racers alongside the F1 season, following along with them. Um, Shit, man. Javier Bardem says, I've never seen a miracle until now. And yeah, I mean, it's a miracle of filmmaking. That is the simplest way to put it. Uh, it is a astonishing feat that they captured this footage, that it looks as good as it did, as authentic as it does. And it's just riveting stuff. See it on the biggest screen possible. Like I said, I saw it on the Big D. See it on the IMAX or Dolby or whatever screen you can find. Because it is one of those movies. It's a spectacle. It's something to see in theaters. It's something that is important to support, in my opinion. It could have easily been Days of Thunder Trickle. Like it could have easily just been the Days of Thunder sequel, but Top Gun Maverickified. But it's not. It is allowing Brad Pitt to star in this movie and tell an original story that I thought was riveting. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I I cannot describe the action in a way that does it any sort of justice. And it's funny because you think of action, it's not a fight scene or anything, but it is. It's so combative, it's so tense that it is the type of action that leaves you on the edge of your seat. It leaves you jaw dropped sitting forward in your seat, and it's breathtaking. The final lap of this movie, I don't think it's a spoiler to say there's a final lap in a racing movie. The final lap in the final race. Um, I felt myself not breathe. Like after it ended, I realized I was like, I've been holding my breath this entire time. That's effective. That is what movies are made for. And I think that if you like action movies, or if you just like fun, a sports movie, inspirational movie, and an engaging movie, F1 is one of the best movies I've seen all year. And I really would recommend going out to the theaters and supporting it. So that's my thoughts on F1 the movie. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. I knew we were in for a treat when this thing started out with beautiful shots of the ocean, and then we got a surprise Shea Wiggum cameo. So, yeah, this was a special one. This was an absolute banger. I'm going to give it a 3.9 out of 5. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you're going to go see Megan F1.0, would that what you call the double feature? Is that the Barbenheimer of F1 and Megan? I have no clue when I'm going to see Megan 2, to be 100% honest. I'm very, very busy this weekend. I'm very thankful that F1 had this advanced screening on a Wednesday night. Of all times, I was able to just get off work, come home, pick up MC, and then go straight to the movies. But yeah, I have no clue if I'm going to try to see Megan, and like the moment that I have like a free time to do it and a showtime lines up, I will. But I've got people coming in from out of town this weekend, and it's MC's birthday, and I don't think she wants to see Megan. As much as that was one of the first movies we ever saw in theaters together, I don't think she wants to see Megan 2 just because she's told me many times she doesn't want to see Megan 2 because of how awful it looks. So we will see. I look forward to hearing what anyone goes and sees at the movies this weekend and what you think. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.